Thank you.
Hey there, how are you? Oh, you're supposed to introduce.
Ladies first. Hi there, gang. I'm Dr. Steph Ganner. Call me Steph. This is,
You go.
unknown. This is Dr. Bob McNeely. He goes by Bob. Bobby does not go by Gordon, per our last one. Today, we're going to be talking about setting expectations, aka expectation management.
Life is all about expectation management.
Perfect example. I didn't expect him to talk right there, and so kind of threw my morning off just by him interrupting there. Expectation management, to your point though, Bobby, is something that it's different between generations. And so today we're going to talk about a little bit differences between maybe some of our Gen Xers and our millennials on setting expectations in life and clinical practice. You want to start here?
No.
Wasn't expecting that. Wow.
See, so what I want you to expect is the unexpected.
Have you ever met a millennial?
That's
We expect Starbucks to be customized and ready to go.
So you're not wrong. And I think because we're between two teeth and we're obviously talking about the dental profession, but obviously it carries forward in life, that's what it's about. And I hate to bring up the fact that I'm on the state board, obviously.
Now, you're on the state? Like, is it a state board of
veterinary medicine? No,
okay,
of dentistry.
That makes sense.
Dentistry.
Okay.
It's between two teeth.
I knew you liked dogs.
A lot of challenges that we see is when expectations are set inappropriately and then they're not met. There was a case, the general details. We've got a general dentist, an orthodontist, and an oral maxillofacial surgeon working on a complex issue with a patient. Some teeth were missing, maybe site number 5 and 6. The bone was heavily deficient, and the patient didn't want to go with a more expensive type of bone grafting to get the ridge where it needed to be.
Sure.
And the oral surgeon kept saying aesthetics will be compromised here. And it was a patient with a high smile line. The orthodontist said, no, we're going to get a great...
Oral surgeons work on people with high smile lines. What?
And the general dentist, in writing to the patient, and there was a bunch of communication back and forth between the doctors and then the patient, and the dentist, in quotes, per the documentation, I assured the patient that the aesthetic result would be excellent. And that was the nail in the coffin. No, it wasn't going to be.
So what I hear you say is this patient was promised an exceptional result by one or both parties of this team and was severely underdelivered. You know, what comes to mind for me is generational differences from that example, that clinical example. I'm going to kind of branch out into a life example. Do you expect that to come easy for you?
I'm still waiting for my tooth.
The life example here is that millennials were promised something different from what we got. And when I was going into dentistry, or when I was thinking about going into dentistry, I'm a 90s baby. And in the 90s, dentistry of the 90s is absolutely different from dentistry today. And so you have us, we're students, and we've gone through this grueling process of college and dental school.
We've all done that.
And now, but here's the difference, is the expectation on when you get out. What is it like? Your group may have been the first group that hanging their shingle wasn't exactly how it was supposed to be. However, our group, it's even more than marketing every day. It is different now. Trying to establish yourself in practice, you have to really evaluate your expectations, what you want in life, what you want in clinical practice, and know that dentistry is not necessarily the panacea that it once was.
Are you just complaining?
Wow. We're going to take a short break here while we reestablish expectations for this podcast.
So here's the deal. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you wanted to start this channel.
I wanted to start I wanted to start this channel, but more so my point is I went into dentistry. This is going to sound cliche, but it is so
I wanted to
true,
help people.
because I wanted to help people, not because I wanted to run a practice
Right.
that was cutthroat, that looked at overhead, looked at margins. I had to have difficult conversations with staff. I'm a nice person in nature, and I want to help people, and I want things to be rosy and perfect, like my whole life has been. And guess what? I
That's
get
not the
out,
way it
I
goes.
got a residency, and there is nothing, no offense, there is nothing perfect about it. And,
Life is messy, practice is messy. I think
yes.
perhaps part of our goal here is to help people on their adventure, perhaps help people to know that you can fail in a really big way
So that was one of my first failures, was my
and still
expectation
be
management. I'm gonna
successful.
cut you off right there. This is my time. Uh, this is part of the expectation management. This is my big first failure, was my expectations for life were incongruent with what the reality was. And I was setting myself up for more failure if I didn't lean in to that lesson. Your expectations have to be different. That doesn't mean you
Right.
cannot chase your goals. That doesn't mean you can't be successful, but the expectations have got to change with what is going on around you.
And you will fail. You will fail in clinical dentistry. You will have personal failures.
What's your biggest failure?
Hmm. I've had so many, it's kind of hard to pick one.
Pick one of your top 5 most impactful failures.
Uh, Probably when I didn't get into dental school in Canada. I grew up in Canada,
He's a Canadian.
loved the metric system, and I had a decision to make whether to leave my home country and go on an adventure that was scary. And I did that. Life is not fair. There are a bunch of failures, but I'm blessed to be where I'm at because of my failures. What's your biggest failure?
My biggest failure was, it probably centered around not winning state as a cross country athlete in high school in my senior year. Athletics have been a blessing, and they've also done me a disservice in life. I was really good at sports growing up. I don't say that to brag. I say that to say a point. For a short for a short female, being good at
Are you
sports
short?
is
You can't say
it's
short. You said that in the
I
last
I
thing. You're
can
just
say it,
not
but you
tall.
can't
Oh,
say
okay.
it.
Once again, her seat is a lot higher than mine.
I'm having to lean in though for this microphone. So here's my point though,
Early
guys.
success
Here's my
was a
point.
challenge.
Early success was a challenge. Short females aren't meant to be successful. They're not meant to be physically dominant on any athletic field or on any court. Basketball wasn't even in the cards for me. I found my niche running and playing soccer. I was a mediocre soccer player. I was a little bit above average runner. However, it made my expectation management of life different. I got a full ride scholarship to multiple colleges. Again, not bragging, trying to make a point. What it taught me was that if you
I've
work
never received a scholarship in anything.
what it taught me was that if you work really hard, you can make your world equal opportunity. You can be equally successful. You can just work really hard and everything is going to be okay. However, when athletics melted away at a certain point, we all have to kind of focus on dental school or focus on other things. I started to learn that, and especially when I graduate, my expectations based on how coaches had treated me, how teachers have treated me, academics, athletics are now not a part of real life.
Right.
And this real life, I am having to kind of to it's challenge, reset, and reevaluate my expectations, because now they're so different, because I am no longer dependent on external motivating factors. It has to come from the inside.
So to wrap this up, expectation management is critical. I think being new in practice, it gets difficult because sometimes you get bitten by something because you weren't prepared, and you have to learn from that failure or it will repeat itself. We talked about how from a state board perspective, we see issues with that constantly. One of these times we're going to have to talk about, I think, communication, effective communication.
I'd love to
ineffective.
delve into in a different podcast, delve in communication with patients, how a patient judges you in the first 10 seconds you
Right.
walk in the room.
Great. And I forget what I was saying before you stopped me. But anyway,
That's perfect. You know what?
set
It was
expectations.
non-essential.
It was non-essential. Set expectations appropriately.
I expect you to hold that tooth the
Learn
entire
from
time.
others, obviously.
Obviously.
And thank you so much for
Thanks,
joining
gang.
us. Y'all are awesome.
You guys rock. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.